Right. Welcome to another video. In this one, we are gonna have a look at another build. It's a build guide. It's gonna be all about Fire Shadow Hybrid. Shadow is expensive, but you can actually run it extremely well in a hybrid format instead. This is a build that I picked up during the KVK season with server 56. It's from a player called RF of HBM. It's a very powerful build and one that I am very excited to share with all of you. So basically, what is really bad about Shadow is, well, for one, it's countered by Holy, so we need to manage that in some way. And two, it is quite expensive to actually max out, especially the Dragon. The Immortals have gotten pretty cheap to get with Stellar and Spark events and stuff. But the Dragon is still quite expensive to actually max out. The Fire Dragon, on the other hand, is completely free to play, easy to max, and you can run Hippo in there to counter Holy Energy Region, getting ahead quickly, controlling, and winning. So basically, by making Shadow into a Shadow Fire hybrid, you are allowing it to compete with Holy, which is supposedly a counter, and you're also getting it for very cheap. So a low cost, high performance build. It's a very good one, and I am very excited to get into it. But before we get too far in, just quickly, this is the weekly reminder about the Huawei campaign, because we have a new campaign. It's been down for the past few weeks. There has not been any, spender campaign active for the Huawei, the big discounts, but it is back. As of yesterday, I believe, the Flower campaign is back. It's called Spend and Earn now, which I think was the same as last time. It is very close, if not identical, to the last event, but that is not really a bad thing because it is a very good one. You spend dollars or euros and you earn flowers. You redeem these flowers for coupons and you get up to 20% back on all your purchases. That's a lot of value and it really adds up to quite a lot in the long run. It is the best discount scheme available as far as I know. So do head on in to the Huawei AppGallery Discord, or just download the AppGallery app, install Infinity Kingdom with it, and go ahead and use the campaign. If you need guides or guidance as to how this works, join the Discord server, the Huawei Discord server. Links down below in the description. There's a lot of wonderful people in there who will help you out to make sure you can take full advantage of this discount campaign. They do also have a giveaway channel, although it has not been active as of late, but I would encourage you to go ahead and enable notifications from that one in case it comes back. Let's get on back to this amazing Shadow Fire hybrid. So, like I said, the Fire Dragon is really a key, not only because it is the limitation, sort of the limiting factor on a Shadow setup. It's the expensive thing that you can't really get and that isn't really worth it to get because it's so expensive, not really that good, because it's countered. So instead, what you want to do is you want to use the Fire Dragon. It also works extremely well because we are relying on a lot of Himiko magic damage, and you can run it with the intense raw talents. Very nice. You also get the added damage from Flame Breath, which reduces physical damage dealt by the enemy. That is very powerful in this meta, and especially against the counter to Shadow, which is Holy. So basically, by swapping away from the Shadow Dragon, we are becoming stronger both in dealing damage and in countering the damage taken from a Holy setup. Very nice. Moving on from there, the build relies a lot on control, because we are being countered by a lot of stuff and we can die pretty quickly. We don't have sustain in this setup, so we need control. That's why we have Tom Wrist, that's why we have Hippo, that's why we have Himiko. We have a lot of control in here, and but beyond that, we also do have no escape. Well, RF had no escape running this build. That takes it to a bit of a higher level spend wise. The no escape will take you, well, on average, around $700 to get, something like that. If you are efficient in getting Triss skills, that is roughly the cost. It's a lot more if you are not. But that does mean that the build is getting more and more expensive. If you want to run no escape, it is the best for this, and it's very, very good. But you can also just opt for energy suppression, a super light version of this build, which still performs very well. But of course, it is not exactly as strong as this build. But energy suppression will kind of do the same thing as no escape. It's going to delay the enemy from casting their abilities, not as long, and critically not as long for Manko, because when you are fighting Manko with no escape and Hippo, you can actually delay his cast for a ridiculous amount of time. You can't delay any casts as much with just energy suppression, but it is a light version and a free version. Yeah, so bear that in mind. But the build is centered around control, and that is really what you want to think about. Credit, of course, to RF of HBM. It's a very, very awesome build. Let's just dive straight on into the juicy bits that you all want to see, because you want to see what kind of build we're running, right? On Tom Riss, we have Crimson Arrow, of course, her ultimate ability. Extremely powerful in this build because you will get a lot of control out of this one. As you can see here in one of the fights, this is actually RF fighting into my holy, and he controlled me for like half the fight. It's quite incredible. It's a long time. You get a lot of confuses. I think he's got 5, so 29 seconds of control time in a match, in a fight that has a total battle time of 56 seconds. So that's more than half the fight, where one of my immortals was actually fighting for him. Extremely powerful. She does not deal a lot of damage or anything herself. She is all about control, but that means that we're gonna use her as our utility support. Toss Malice on there. Let's not take those big crits. We want to survive a bit. If you're not taking a lot of crits and that's not an issue, you can swap this out, but as a baseline, it's a very good skill. Assist in there because we don't care about her troop count. She's not dealing damage, she's not healing, she's just controlling. So she can soak up all the damage that she wants, and we lose 0 efficiency. So assist on her is extremely powerful and keeps our Himiko on higher troop counts. I also want Oakengard in there. Obviously, this is a swappable talent based or skill based on your enemy, fighting against hybrids and holies a lot, which you will be at endgame. You're gonna want Oakengard in there. But of course, if you are not fighting against pure physical damage, you want to swap that out. You could do Resist or Blessing of Rage or Blessing of War or something else. Yeah, but basically, Tom Riss, critical part of the setup and insane at controlling. She's unrivaled at her ability to just control the battlefield. Very powerful and underrated immortal. Himiko is our second immortal, our backliner. It's the main damage dealer. Kind of think of her as a next level Merlin, right? We are just dishing out a ton of magical damage in burst AoE. In this build, I saw her running Chase. You can do that very efficiently with Death Breath if you have enough crit. So you're gonna need a crit artifact. You're probably gonna need weakness in your march, of course. But with the Fire Dragon, that's also very nice because we get bigger crits, right? It's crit damage. But you can't always rely on Chase, so bear that in mind. If you are trying to do this build, you may not have enough crit, or maybe your enemy is running Malice, and that really reduces the value of Chase. If so, you can swap into something like Spell Disintegration, or just Annihilation is an awesome talent. So you can just swap that in there instead. I think Annihilation for sure would actually be my bet. But basically, Himiko is dealing a truckload of damage. She is a very powerful damage dealer, and she's also adding to the control. Because we are talking about control a lot, because this is a control setup. She's actually controlling for 12 seconds with her exile from Demon Ambush. That's very, very good. Remember, this was a 56-second fight. It's very, very good. Our main damage dealer is also controlling for like 20% of the fight. So, third up, Hippo, Hippoluta. With the ability to keep energy regen and attack speed low, Hippo contributes to the control-centric strategy of this build. The reduced active enemies on the battlefield. Because we have both Himiko and Tom Reese, we have windows where we are fighting against only 2 enemy immortals. Because it's going to be one in exile, so one backline in exile, and there's going to be one of the last 3 immortals confused fighting for you. So you're actually going to be fighting what is that, 5-2 for some of this fight. When that happens, Flaming Smite hits with 7 attacks. Well, if you have the UA, which I assume you have, since it's completely free and also free to upgrade and max. You basically hit with 7 of these attacks, reducing 700 energy from the enemy just on a single target. That demolishes an entire energy bar. That's awesome, and that means that in this way, you either have, like, let's say we're fighting Manko, right? So you have either get exile on one of the backliners, say it's gonna be I don't know, the Theo, right? Then you get confused on one of the other immortals, and that leaves Manko and someone else available. Well, you're gonna hit with 3 or 4 statistically flaming smites. That's almost that's over half. Sorry, that's almost half an energy bar. So that's just gonna take him down to very low energy again, and prolong the time where he can do absolutely nothing. That is extremely powerful, and why this build counters Holy so well. It's the way that control and energy regen control sort of synergizes with each other. Very, very powerful. For her skills, you want to run fighting RF, run fighting master, adrenaline rush, and full coverage. Decent. Fighting master, of course, is because he was fighting against some Earth teams as well. So getting that control immunity was key. If not, you could opt for energy burst or something else dealing more damage. For quite high value, but this is what he ran, and it worked extremely well. For the full spot, RF ran PJorn. I am not really sure I'm keen on the fact that he did this. It's obviously because he want to build Shadow and he doesn't build the dragon, right? But I actually think that it could be better. If you are building this and you have PJorn, run him, because you get the 3 immortal buff for your Himiko. That's very, very nice. But I'm not entirely sure if it's worth it. So if you are looking to make this a bit cheaper, don't run PJorn, but instead run something like William or Trajan or Charles, even, if you need the sustain, right? And what PJorn does is that, I mean, he does give a 20% damage taken increase on the front row enemy, but since one of them is probably going to be confused a fair bit, since one enemy in the backline is being controlled already with the exile, we will have more frequent confuses from Tom Reese up front, and that leaves just one immortal taking debuff. I'm not sure that it is great value on its own. The leech effect is not really providing us any value as well. The resilience, it's fine. PJorn is basically a 3rd elemental buff for your Himiko, and that is value. That is very good value. But if you are looking to build this a bit cheaper, you can do it differently. You can run Trajan or William. Trajan with a unique artifact becomes very, very powerful. Likewise, William can be a good option. adding to your damage. So this is feeding into more of the fire side, of course, so more of the glass cannony kind of build, where you are boosting up the crit and crit damage of a build, which is very, very nice, especially if running a build like this with chase in it. Very nice. But you can also run something like a Charles in there if you want the added sustain and defensive capability. Trajan and Charles allow you to run no escape if you are doing that, because they are tanks. William does not, but can be used for a more offensive thing, I guess. Trajan or Charles, probably my first choices for a replacement if you are looking for one. If you can make PJorn, go do that. He's great. Or well, the third elemental ability is great. That's basically all. That is the build. It's a very, very powerful one, and one that I am actually gonna try and build into. I don't have Tom Riz finished. I don't have PJorn either, but I'm gonna try and build into a Himiko Tom Riz Hippo Trajan build. I think there could be quite a lot of value in there with this kind of hyper control centric builds. Very cool thing, and just huge props to RF for this very beautiful build. I hope that you all enjoyed, and see you for the next one. I am Myrek, server 105. Find me there, Discord, IKW website, YouTube, etc. You know the drill. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. As always, please do subscribe to the channel. I consistently release new content here on the IK channel and on the official IK Wiki website. Links are in the description. On these channels you can find guides from everything in IK, from events to talents, passives, finished builds and game mechanics. With that, I'm gonna leave you, and as always, thank you for watching and see you for the next one.